Impact Wrestling celebrated 20 years of existence with Slammiversary this past weekend, and we had multiple major happenings at the show, including some special appearances from former Impact World Champions of the past. One notable absence has explained the reason why he wasn't there. We had multiple title changes. We're going to talk about it all in today's Impact Wrestling news. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of Impact Wrestling, so we are going to talk about Slammiversary today. I know it's a little bit late, but we had a bit of a busy weekend with lots of things and happenings, but we're going to get into everything that happened at Slammiversary. So I do want to start off talking about one of the more surprising elements of the show, one of the more newsworthy elements of the show, and that was multiple cameo appearances from Impact Wrestling legends of the past and Hall of Famers of the past, one being AJ Styles. Yes. Now, to honor Impact Wrestling's 20th anniversary, several former Impact Wrestling stars, including the likes of AJ Styles, appeared in video messages at this past weekend's Slammiversary event. Now, as can be seen on social media, and if you watch Slammiversary, the show itself, AJ Styles spoke about being in the first ever match in TNA Wrestling back in 2002. Of course, that match was Jerry Lynn, Low Key, and AJ Styles versus the Flying Elvises in the inaugural match on the NWA TNA pay-per-view back in 2002. Styles also noted that one match that changed everything for him while in TNA was his match at Unbreakable in 2005. Of course, that fabled X Division Championship triple threat match or three-way dance between AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, and Samoa Joe. Styles also thanked fans for voting for him as the most impactful wrestler and thanked WWE also for allowing him to send the video message. But it wasn't the only person that made video appearances for the event. While, of course, with the promotion, Styles was a 5-time world champion, 6-time tag team champion, the company's first ever Triple Crown champion, Grand Slam champion. But there were also appearances in terms of a virtual form, video form, from Kurt Angle, former Impact world champion Kurt Angle, appeared in his home studio to congratulate Impact Wrestling for 20 years, celebrating 20 years. Also, the icon, the guy who, there was AJ Styles in Impact Wrestling or TNA Wrestling back in the early 2000s, but the company's crown jewel, if you will, the one every single year they tried their very best to stop going to WWE, was Sting. And Sting also appeared in a video message to help Impact Wrestling celebrate 20 years. There was also, Scott Hudson was backstage as well doing the interview for that. And it was great. Obviously, the Kurt Angle one isn't that surprising, I guess. Look, he's not tied to any company. I don't even know if he has a legend still with WWE. I don't think he has any contract with WWE, so that's not surprising. The Sting one, I hope that Sting was going to do something because, as much as there was a lot wrong with Impact Wrestling and TNA Wrestling in the early 2000s and throughout its history, Sting was a massive part of that. And really, him and Kurt Angle, we will talk about AJ Styles in a second in terms of helping, build up that company. But really, Kurt Angle jumping in 2006 really helped legitimize TNA Wrestling at the time. It was the real first big main event level star that left WWE and went to Impact Wrestling, TNA Wrestling at the time. And it was significant. And they did feel like there was a shift at the company at the time. Sting, of course, he worked so well for Impact TNA back in that time period because he was this legendary figure that everyone knew. These casual fans and these lapsed wrestling fans from the Monday Night Wars, people knew who he was, but also why he was so important to Impact TNA at the time was because he had never been to WWE at that point, and he was the one name that had never been to WWE, but he was in Impact Wrestling, and he was waving that Impact Wrestling flag, and that was always significant. So it was great to see them at Slammiversary. As far as AJ Styles, look, it was surprising. It was surprising that he would do that because WWE just doesn't do that, and they don't play well with others. But maybe this is a bit of the quid pro quo, and I think back to earlier this year, and we don't really know the full story behind it. I wouldn't be shocked if, to be honest, Impact reached out to AJ and AJ said, I'm just going to do it. At WWE, what are you going to do? You're really going to get angry for me sending a video message, or this is really going to be helping the competition? I think probably it might have been a case of AJ just going, look, I'm going to do it, sign it off. People might get angry when I say this, but I don't even think WWE really views Impact as competition in the same vein as maybe AEW they do, And let's face it, they owe Impact one. They owe Impact one from earlier this year. Of course, Mickie James competed in the Royal Rumble. And I think this maybe is where it stems from. I wouldn't be shocked, and I don't know this to be fact, but I wouldn't be surprised if this came out in the next couple of days or weeks, that with Mickie James working the Royal Rumble earlier this year, the Women's Royal Rumble, and she came out to a hardcore country theme, and she was the Knockouts champion. That was an appearance by an Impact Wrestling contracted talent on WWE programming, and maybe Impact said, by the way, we want AJ Styles to make some form of an appearance at Slammiversary. Now, ideally, he would have been appearing in the Impact Zone, but maybe that wasn't possible. But just to have him there on the video message, I think probably achieved what Impact wanted it to, because a lot of people are talking about it, and a lot of people were buzzing about it on social media on Sunday. So I think that they would have been happy with that. But I don't know that to be the case. I don't know that to be accurate, but I wouldn't be shocked if that was the situation there. One name that wasn't there was Samoa Joe. I think a lot of people expected Samoa Joe to be there, considering, again, not under contract with WWE anymore, under contract to AEW. We know that Impact and AEW have a friendly and working relationship. He's been appearing on brands that he had in the past, such as Ring of Honor. So a lot of people assumed that with all of these people making past appearances, AJ Styles, Sting, Kurt Angle, we'll talk about some others that did appear, even the former president, Dixie Carter, made a surprise appearance, and you had the Team Originals match against Honor No More, and the people that eventually appeared on there were Nick Aldis and, of course, Davey Richards. But one of the names that people thought it would be was Samoa Joe. But a lot of people were saying, oh, why didn't Joe appear? Did he turn him down? What was the situation? Samoa Joe put out a tweet the day following, Monday, Slammiversary, saying, quote, "Dearest cackling hens, I wasn't asked or available, and it should not mar a great milestone set by Impact. Happy anniversary, and my best going forward to all involved." So that was the situation. He wasn't asked and he wasn't available. People forget Samoa Joe is very busy at the moment. He's just been cast in a movie for HBO Max. I think Will Arnett's going to be doing the voice for it, but he's going to be busy with that. And, you know, if he wasn't asked and he wasn't available, then that's not the issue, you know. And sometimes that can happen, I think, with pro wrestling and pro wrestling fans, is we assume one thing's going to happen, and then when it doesn't happen, we get angry, but it was never advertised or teased. It's one thing for if they were doing Samoa Joe teases. It's one thing if they were hinting that Joe was going to show up. Then you would say, well, that's on Impact for teasing him, but they never did. That was just a situation of fans assumed that something was going to happen, but it was never teased, it was never promised, and that was the situation. Now let's get into some of the big moments happening coming out of Slammiversary. We saw multiple title changes at the show, one being the Tag Team Championships, quite surprisingly actually, because the Good Brothers defeated the Briscoes to become the new Impact World Tag Team Champions. Now the Good Brothers hit the Magic Killer on Jay Briscoe to become the new champions. Now after the match, we saw more cameos of Impact Wrestling names of the past, as James Storm and Chris Harris, the tag team known as America's Most Wanted, AMW, came to the ring and offered the Good Brothers and the Briscoes a drink. Now, before losing at the event, Jay and Mark Briscoe had been the champions since defeating Violent by Design at Under Siege on May 7, 2022. This victory marks Gallows and Anderson's third time as Impact Tag Team Champions. The first time Gallows and Anderson held the titles was from November 2020 to March 2021, while the second reign was from July 21 to March 22. Now, I say this was quite surprising because of course, we know the Good Brothers, their Impact contracts are set to expire, or they would have expired. This was a bit of an extension on their deal. I would suggest, and again, I don't know this to be accurate, we'll have to wait and see, unless they do a title change, the upcoming Impact TV tapings, which again is entirely possible, unless they do a title change, this would imply that the Good Brothers are going to be sticking around. We could see a situation whereby they signed a short-term agreement or a handshake agreement where they said, we're going to get to the next event, and at the next event, we'll do AMW versus the Briscoes versus the Good Brothers for the tag titles, and maybe AMW will win the bouts, and then the Good Brothers leave, and then AMW feuds with the Briscoes. That might happen. That might be the situation there. Or we could just see a situation whereby they've decided to stick around and they're going to be working New Japan dates as well as Impact Wrestling dates, which is entirely possible too. So keep an eye out for that one, because I was surprised about that. I was surprised because I was under the assumption this would probably be one of the Good Brothers' final appearances in Impact Wrestling. But maybe, just maybe, this is an indication that the Good Brothers are going to be sticking around for a little bit more time to come. Now, again, I said there were multiple title changes. One other title change was the Knockouts Championship. Jordan Grace is the new Knockouts champion. Now, Jordan Grace won the first ever Queen of the Mountain match to become the new Knockouts champion. She defeated former champion Tasha Steelz, Chelsea Green, Deonna Purrazzo, and Mia Yim. Of course, Mickie James was the acting special guest enforcer for the match. Now, the victory marks Grace's second title reign. She was the Knockouts champion from January 2020 to July 2020. Now, it must be said, some of the bumps in this match were unbelievable. That bump of Chelsea Green, and is it Tasha Steelz that come flying out of the ring? Oh my goodness, it was absolutely brutal. I think they got pushed off the ladder by Mia Yim. It was brutal, and I've said before, I'm a huge fan of the Queen of the, the King of the Mountain ladder match, Queen of the Mountain, whatever you want to call it, the reverse ladder match. I know we got a lot of criticism over the years for maybe being a bit convoluted, but I enjoyed it, and it must be said, the overall show, sometimes those big anniversary shows can fall a bit flat because people are expecting so much, and there is so much expectation on the matches to deliver, and, you know, sometimes the event and circumstance can overshadow it, but I thought pretty much every match was spot on. I think the main event, whilst I enjoyed it, was difficult to follow some of the matches that we had seen, the match going through the show, but this was a match that I thought was absolutely brilliant. And Jordynne Grace, of course, she signed a new deal with Impact Wrestling, I believe it was last year, or earlier this year. The time kind of bleeds into one. But it'll be interesting to see where that goes going forward. But look at the people in this match. I was thinking this when I was watching it. You've got Deonna Purrazzo, Chelsea Green, Tasha Steelz, Jordynne Grace, Mia Yim, Mickie James on the outside. We're going to talk about the Knockouts tag titles in a minute. What a strong division. I mean, seriously, what a credit to Impact Wrestling of they lost quite a few female talents over the course of the last 12 months, and people weren't sure about how they were going to replace said talents. Now, ironically, one entire Valkyrie is back, but they weren't sure how that was going to play out. But look at it, it's a thriving division, and it just goes to show what you can do is if you make women's wrestling matter in your company. It's a cornerstone of the organization. I've said this multiple times. It really is a cornerstone of the organization, and it really is. It's a testament. It absolutely is a testament to Impact Wrestling, and I really enjoyed that match. And congratulations to Jordynne Grace. We also saw a new X Division champion crowned at the event at Slammiversary. Speedball Mike Bailey became the new X Division champion after he defeated former champion Ace Austin, Trey Miguel, Kenny King, Andrew Everett, and Alex Zane in an Ultimate X match. Now, this is Bailey's first reign as X Division champion. He only signed his contract with Impact on October 31st, 2021, after Scott D'Amore offered him a contract after his match with Josh Alexander at a Destiny Wrestling event in Canada. Of course, Jack Evans was originally supposed to be one of the opponents at in the Ultimate X match at Slammiversary. He was replaced by Andrew Everett. Evans was replaced due to an injury. On Saturday, Evans wrestled Ninja Mac at GCW You Wouldn't Understand. During the match, Evans missed a 630 splash, landed on his head. It was nasty, so out of, I believe they phrased it as an abundance of caution, he was taken out of the match. But as with any Ultimate X match, I thought it was great. I'm not sure it was the Ultimate X match that we had one. I think it was this time last year, wasn't it, with Josh Alexander in it. I think it was maybe a little bit better because I did like the mix of characters. This was more your traditional Ultimate X, shall we say, with the high-flying spots. But, you know, congratulations to Mike Bailey. I think the X Division Championship and the X Division in general, as I said, is almost a chameleon division because it evolves. You know, it constantly evolves and changes. In the sense that depending on who the champion is, the bout changes, i.e. if it's Josh Alexander as the champion, it's a television championship. If it's Mike Bailey, it's more of a cruiserweight championship. So I'm interested to see where that one goes going forward as well. But very much enjoyed that too. Finally, I say finally, but I have so many title changes. We have new Knockouts Tag Team Champions, and Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary. They're the new Knockouts Tag Team Champions. Now, Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie defeated The Influence, of course, Madison Rayne and Tenille Dashwood, to become the new Knockouts Tag Team Champions. Rayne went for the pin, but Valkyrie sent her to the outside. Rosemary then hit a knee to the face, followed by the Skyward Suplex for the victory. Now, of course, Taya Valkyrie has had quite a lot of success since returning to Impact Wrestling. She made her return on April 2nd. She left Impact in January of 2021, and a month later she was signed with NXT, but then she was released later that year in November. Valkyrie, of course, still holds the record for the longest reign of being a Knockouts World Champion at 377 days. Her first and only run with the title. Of course, this is Rosemary's second time as Knockouts Tag Team Champion. She previously held the title with Havoc. The relationship with Rosemary and Ty Valkyrie is complicated, going back from the time that Valkyrie shot Johnny Bravo and all that kind of stuff. But it'll be interesting to see where they go with that one, because I haven't been super keen on how they've booked the Knockouts tag titles. I think they've come into the same situation that WWE has, and that it's sometimes difficult to book women's tag team championships. I think the way to overcome it is you have to go all in, and you have to commit, and you have to make teams, you have to stick with teams, and really build the division up. I do think it kind of hurt that they lost the inspiration, and the inspiration decided to go their different ways and do their own thing. I think they had hoped to build the division around them long term, and obviously that hasn't happened. But Ty Valkyrie and Rosemary, I'm big fans of them both, so excited to see what they do in their title reign. But guys, let me know your thoughts on Slammiversary. Let me know your thoughts on all of today's stories. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner, and I'll speak to you again very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.